Award for Success Express, your business, career, and financial radio magazine. Hosted by Lisa and Nancy, editors of BigBlendMagazines.com.
San Diego employment attorney Ward Heinrichs is back on Big Blend Radio's Success Express show today to talk about how to be successful with your holiday party this season. No seasonal shenanigans, no naughty Santas, and be careful of the mistletoe, apparently. That's what he says in his recent article in Big Blend Radio and TV magazine. You can check it out on blendradioandtv.com right now. As you know, Ward is a regular Big Blend Radio guest and contributor to Big Blend Radio and TV magazine, and he talks about tourism as well and hospitality industry issues in regards to employment law, also in our Parks and Travel magazine. But the thing is, go to his website, bestemploymentattorneysandiego.com, to keep up with what, especially California law, right? California employment law, workplace issues, especially if you're starting a business, like in San Diego, you may want to go knock on Ward's door, and he won't bring the mistletoe out, I promise. He's also on Twitter and Facebook. Ward, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you doing, Lisa?
Hey, doing good. Nancy and I were wondering, like, we got to be careful about this mistletoe. Apparently, this would not be, like, are we going to have the mistletoe, like a Me Too hanging off of it? We can't do that. That's not good. We have to be careful.
Well, yeah.
Uh-oh, I already got myself in trouble.
But maybe not at a work party. It encourages people to get close, which, what's wrong with that? The problem is if something happens and someone gets uncomfortable, there's kissing that some people might not want. There's situations where someone's standing under a mistletoe and they say some things that make someone feel awkward. Then you really need to avoid that. And I just say at workplace functions, just don't have it.
I agree. I think it's just to be careful about it. What I'm worried about is there's the mistletoe and then there's the Santa. See, that's the thing. That's what freaks me out is, Santa, like, I just wonder about it, like when you take your kids to the mall and everybody jumps on Santa's lap. I mean, maybe you don't want to. It could be Newman from Seinfeld, or it could be Kramer. Now, that would be fine, but you never know who that Santa is. It's like clowns. I've freaked out about Santa like people are freaked out about clowns. Clowns are okay.
Oh, okay.
I know.
Well, that's the first time I've ever heard of that. But
I know. But you never know. It's like, no, I'm just kidding. But that's something to be careful about, too, because there's weird shenanigans that happen with Santas. Naughty ones.
Oh, yeah. Well, we did a holiday party blog and show a few years ago, and we talked in detail about naughty Santas. And,
why do I want to talk about him again?
You like guys in red suits, maybe. I'm not sure.
It's the fireman thing. That's what it is.
You like uniforms.
That could be part of it, too.
If we have firemen dressed up as Santas, then I say we go for it.
Okay. I'm sure that some of the firehouse parties have firemen dressed as Santa, so they ought to invite you. I mean, you're not an employee, so it's cool.
I know.
I think you go to Vegas and go watch Thunder Down Under.
No, I want the firemen and Santa outfits now. Suddenly I'm fine. I'm fine about Santas. But yeah, I know we've talked about this in the past, but it's really, when you look at bad things happen in time. It's kind of like a bummer because holiday parties are supposed to be silly and have a good time, but somebody always ruins it, and then we have to have laws. And then, then sorry, we have to come to you, which is cool.
The problem is taking it too far. I mean, Santa's really for kids, right? I mean, that's where we all grew up with, going to see Santa and sitting on his lap, and, there's nothing wrong with that. But, if you're a 30-year-old Santa and there's a 25-year-old female, I'm thinking male Santa here, and a 25-year-old cute female receptionist, and you want her to sit on your lap, that could be great and innocent and fantastic, but, it could venture into places that maybe the employer doesn't want to go.
Well, I think,
and it could go on all sides. Anybody could say anything.
Yeah, absolutely.
When we had our magazine in South Africa, I had a bar. and every Friday afternoon, clients and employees would come to the bar.
Can't
And
do that now.
and it was mostly interesting and harmless until sometimes it wasn't. And then it was like, okay, maybe you don't want to have a bar for clients and employees because stuff happens that shouldn't happen.
Nancy had her own Mad Men running.
No, well, there was one man that somehow managed to remove women's bras without them realizing it, and
Wow.
that was that was uncomfortable. It was not good, and it was a total. Although I will say,
that guy was good. Holy smokes.
Pretty amazing.
He was good, dude. He was good.
No, he was. And he was a photographer, and he was a nice guy. Was very intelligent, but
yeah.
And that bar trick went like, whoa.
Yeah.
And then I was like, uh-oh.
Right.
And
well, that's the kind of thing we're talking about.
Exactly. And it's not funny, but it is.
And you have one too many drinks, and then, you know, everybody has a different threshold. You know.
Yes, that's true too.
And you never know you never know what medication somebody's on, or that they shouldn't drink. And then I wonder about these office parties when some people are in recovery. I mean, there's all these different issues, and so like, it's just, I don't know. I mean, at that point, you got to watch it. But I mean, some places, some businesses I know like go all out for the holidays. I mean, our band used to play at all these Christmas parties, and then next thing you know, you'd see like your banker on the top of a table, like doing things that they shouldn't. So what about that? I mean, doing these they do like this end of year banquet. It's kind of like a, you know, maybe an awards banquet crossed with, you know, the holidays. And if you say Christmas, are you in trouble? So those big banquet things, what happens if someone wants to go and have a cocktail and maybe you weren't serving that? Is that a no-no?
Well, I guess, you know, if the employer knows about something that's going on that can create a problem, then and if that problem leads to an act that could be, for which the employer could be liable later, then yeah, that could create a problem. If the employer doesn't know, less of a problem, but with the employer-employee relationship, at least in California, there's strict liability for harassment and discrimination. So even if the employer doesn't know that a manager is doing something, that employer could still be liable for what the manager does to a lower level employees. So, you know, I wish there was an easy way to attack this, because who doesn't love a holiday party? But if I'm advising an employer, that's why I listed these 26 things. Is it 26? Yeah, 26. I've been growing my list. You know, kind of pick and choose what you want to enforce and enforce them, and then you're more likely to have a healthy, non-liability related party. There's no way to perfectly protect anyone, you know, there just isn't, but you can do things that that reduce the risk, and that's what we're really talking about here. I'm not trying to advocate get rid of holiday parties. I think that would be awful. But you know, if someone needs, you know, if an employer needs advice, you know, I tell them these things because, you know, you do want to reduce the risk, reduce the amount of alcohol. You know, do you need mistletoe? I don't think you do. It doesn't make it that much more fun, I don't think. So personally, just get rid of it. Don't have it. Don't worry about it. There's, you know, just tons of other things that you can do, but the problem is there's a tension too, because some of these things actually create more of an employment atmosphere. The more control the employer has over the situation, the more like you have an employer-employee relationship outside of work. And I keep saying, well, make it voluntary, and that helps you get away from that. But if you do a lot of control things, and some of these are, then maybe you're getting back to that. But, you know, some of it just makes sense, and it's worth the risk to do that too. That's my spiel.
But I like these.
I like it, but what happens after the party? Because I'm thinking back to when we first came back to this country, and we both worked at the same company in different
I'm like,
stores.
Don't tell that story, Nancy.
Okay. No, I'm being very careful.
I'm kidding.
But there was a big hall that was rented, and all the sales reps and managers and store managers, everything, we all went to the same stupid thing.
Oh,
and it was stupid, but it was their Christmas sort of party. which wasn't really a party. It was more of a lecture, and it was boring. And then afterwards, they did pay for hotel rooms and transportation, and they had potato salad and stuff. And it was no fun at all. But after, they said, all come to this bar. And then people did. And then people got way out of hand. I mean, way out of hand.
Management. We're really looking down at blouses.
Oh, yeah.
Everything.
Pulling your sweater and looking down
I
your
remember
blouse
that.
and dancing on
I remember we talked about this before, And
so that got way out of hand. Now, since they invited and they picked up the tab, would they be liable?
Well, they've created a situation where there is potential liability. And again, it depends on the facts. You can do that and nothing happens. No one's offended and everything's fine. But you can do that and create an atmosphere where things do happen and you're not fine. So that's one of those situations where you've created, this is what I call an after party. Yeah. The first party was controlled, non-offensive, and boring. That really reduces, boring though, that's the problem, it's a little boring, but it reduces the risk for liability, and that's the tension. Do you want to be boring, or do you want to have some fun and create some liability situations? So they did a good job in reducing liability the first time, but in the second, going to the bar, now they've increased their liability risk, no doubt. But you're having a great time. So, what do you do? Yeah. That's why, again, I got this list where if you do something like that, do some smart things to reduce your risk. That's just.
But now, is it not the employee's choice whether or not to go? If it's your choice whether or not to go, because that's kind of what they kind of said, you elected to go.
Yeah, and that does remove it more from an employment workplace kind of situation. The first part of the situation you described was real formal. It sounds pretty work related. You're listening to lectures, la da da. So I would say, it sounds like you're employer there. When you go, hey, I'm going to pay for some drinks, just come on out. You've created a wider gap between the employer-employee relationship. But that doesn't mean it disappears. And it doesn't necessarily disappear if you're, giving drinks to minors. You can be liable if someone gets intoxicated and because you keep buying drinks for free, free for them, then that can create liability. And then the more the workplace seeps into that situation, even though it's informal and voluntary, it could be a workplace situation. It's possible. And again, I always say this, and I always kind of chuckle when I say it, but it's so true. It depends on what happens and what the facts are. That could be totally employment unrelated or nearly so, or it could start evolving into more of an employment situation. And even if it's not, there's all sorts of potential liability anyway there. Like I said, the drinking and other things. And it's possible to have a manager still harass an employee, a subordinate employee in that situation too. I mean, if a bunch of work people gather and someone's not acting right to another employee, then that could be a part of like a discrimination or harassment lawsuit. There's no doubt it could be.
It's interesting. I love that you give this list, and it's expanding, and things are happening in the world and changing. And I think it's important that people are aware. We're adults, right? We should all kind of, watch how we do our stuff. We should behave. You're going to be loosen up a little bit with some eggnog, but there's a behavior thing that you got to watch. And I love the list because I think this is that kind of list where everybody can look at, an employer can look, or a manager and go, okay, this is some of the potential things we know we have to handle. Like, you don't have like a champagne fountain and next to someone in rehab. Don't do that. You don't, because they just go, I'm just going to stick my finger in there, take a taste. And next thing you know, scent is being tossed across the room. You can't have that. And that can happen. And then it's like, well, you put him next to that and it's because if it's a holiday party, you may not have to go, but there's that feeling of like, if you don't go, is the boss going to look down on you?
No, there's that pressure. There is that pressure.
and you feel that, that's when you go, hey, I'm going out of town, or something. And so there's this interesting thing. And there is also, from we've seen over the years with different companies, that if a company does this bonus thing and then you take the bonus away, you're going to get a vibe that the company feels, oh, you're going down, you don't care. Or if there's been any change in management, it's like the free ham thing. If that gets taken away, now you have you have things where you could actually lose some of your key employees. You could.
Yeah, and that's something I didn't even write about. It's the gift giving. Of course, it's traditional to give gifts during the holidays, and you probably have some good friends at work, especially if you've been there for a while. So sometimes an employer or certain employees might give out gifts, and if they don't give them out to everyone, then people might feel slighted, and that's not really so much of a discrimination risk. I suppose it could be, but it's more of a morale risk than anything else. Mm-hmm. And then you've got these parties where you have the white elephant party, you give away the lousy gifts. Well, maybe one of the gifts is so much better, and then everyone gets super competitive over it, and people have bent feelings. So maybe that's not worth it. I mean, yeah, and like you said, if someone withholds the yearly ham, that can create problems. So. Yeah. Good managers, good employers try to be as even-handed as they possibly can. No one's going to be perfect. We're human.
And
but
you can't give the ham to the vegans. See, now that's the other thing. You got to watch the ham. Or you can't, because you got to look at also.
You
everyone
have to look at different
religious beliefs,
and to blanket
that can be a problem.
It's a Christmas
party. So we have to say holiday instead of Christmas?
Not a holiday party. It's a Christmas party, and you get a free ham.
Kwanzaa.
And you get the free ham for 3 to 4 years, and then all of a sudden, they don't give the free ham.
That's a dangerous thing to give over the holidays.
And it's really interesting because I believe it was one particular employee who was not of the Christian faith who had a problem with the free ham. So the free ham got boom. But they didn't replace it with anything. So that was a fun Christmas party.
That could be tough. Yep. And I do write about religious freedom in here, and that's one reason why most employment attorneys who give advice to employers say, you really should make it a holiday party, be more inclusive, don't be offensive, a lot of, and that's lawyers being careful, but, it's probably not a bad idea if you have a diverse workforce. Now, if you're in the middle of the country and your town is 100% Catholic, well, it's probably not a problem, right? Mm-hmm. But, if you have a diverse workforce like we generally do in California,
yeah.
You have to. I think you really are smart to be sensitive to it, and then be more generic. Mm-hmm. I think it makes sense, and it's not. That's not how I celebrate at home. But shoot, at the workplace, be more generic.
Yeah. Well, and it's more inclusive at that point. If you're supposed to, if you've got to look at what you're doing the party for. There's that side of me who says, hey, have a New Year's party and start the year off with a bang. Wait until after New Year's Day. Everybody come in and start that. But then you can't just do the typical January 1st because you've got all kinds of New Year's. Like I used to think, why don't people just do the Thanksgiving party? No, because Thanksgiving's even on the wrong date. So, don't invite Christopher Columbus. Do not wear that outfit. So there's all these issues and sensitivities, and they're real. They're real. And I think it's like you've got to be able to have a party, but there's that side of me who just would say, celebrate winter. Because if it's cold, I know you're in San Diego, but sometimes we've had snow, and you have snow in Julian,
Mm-hmm.
Do winter. Can't we just go on the seasons? That's it.
So that makes you a druid.
Sure. I mean, it makes you a druid.
I am. That's
supporting druid
through the forest. Yeah.
Okay.
Here we go. No, but I mean, can't we just kind of change it up and make your own company tradition? That's inclusive instead of I don't know.
Well, yeah, I mean, those are good suggestions, and each owner of a business or CEO or what have you has to make the call that they think makes sense for their business, for their employees in the business. So it could be different. It could be a holiday party. Again, in the right place, it's a Christmas party. In another place, it can be. It's fine if it's some other Hanukkah.
Yeah.
It could be fine. But again, the more diverse your workplace is, it just makes sense to me to be more generic. Maybe call it winter. Maybe call it holiday. Maybe call it we're just celebrating the end of the year. New Year's is not religiously based. No one thinks of it that way. So
exactly. I'm celebrating.
There's ways of handling it.
Festivus for the rest of us. Get the poll out.
No, but it is interesting.
That would not go well.
Can you imagine if we did like a big Halloween? Because that's a weird holiday. It's my favorite one. Now, just have a Halloween party and see what happens.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Well, I think it depends on each place, and that's what I like about
it. Does.
Mm-hmm.
I could even see a problem with that. Most people think of that as non-religious based, but I think there's some people who are religious who are offended by Halloween.
Mm-hmm.
So, just look at your workforce and make your best decision. That's all I can say. But consider everyone.
And your region, because it's even like I know communities have to look
too.
at how they do. It's a Christmas light parade. Oh, now suddenly no, it's a light parade. It's the holiday light parade.
Yeah.
It goes into these changes according to who's in the community, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. That's about
a good thing.
How can we be inclusive? What I like this list is you can look at where you are, who is in your company, how can we make this fun?
Right.
It is. You talk about. Don't just be like here's your lecture, like Nancy said. Here's your potato salad. And, here's a rah-rah speech that you've heard 10 times and it's boring now. And, this is not how to do the holidays. That's not festive and fun. We want to have fun. So there are ways to get around it and look at it. And I say hire people. You talk about that in the beginning of your list. Hire people that if you're going to do booze, either do the cash bar thing like you say, or hire someone that because of the drinking and driving. And I just want to go to number 26. More.
26. Yeah, okay.
Dude, you put that in there. Okay.
I did.
Women
I'm going way out.
At company parties too. Just FYI.
Oh, that is so true.
And it's true. But people don't want to talk about that. Because you go,
it's true.
oh, I'm going to get this dude over here. Just give him a little cocktail. And I will sit on Santa's lap, and I want that promotion.
No, I think the big ruby red lip kiss, lipstick,
here we go.
And the smearing all over the poor young guy who just started in the company. No, I've seen that, and you look at this old lady, and you're like, really?
I just feel like
you're going to do that? Seriously? And nobody says anything because it's a woman making the move as opposed to a man. It's all wrong. It's all wrong.
I totally agree, and I think honestly, men are probably more often guilty of this than women, but women are too. And so you need to be fair. Again, this is a fairness thing. If a guy's doing it, say no, and if a woman's doing it, say no. That's not appropriate here.
No means no too.
And they never do. They do that, and it's always a younger guy who just got hired. I'm thinking about well, we worked for one of the funniest companies ever to work for, and we saw everything, and we were like, whoa.
Yeah.
Because we saw that happen, and it was disgusting.
It was.
I was so insulted as a woman to watch that happen, and nobody intervened.
Mm-mm. And then at the end of the evening, having to pick up your boss who's barfing on the side of the road.
I know. What the hell?
Anyway, I won't go there. No, and this is a giant company. But anyway, no, it was interesting. That was a big wake-up call and went, okay, that's it. Let's go back and do the magazine.
Exactly.
Enough of that. But actually, it was really funny. I'm sorry. All of it was funny. I could write a book about that whole chapter of my life, and it's great. But the interesting part, going back into, and I mentioned how you were saying, actually hire people, and it's like you were talking about, get help with the hotel room things and stuff like that. If you're going to have drinking, like if your party's in Vegas, dude, good for you.
Yeah, sounds good.
I know it does. But imagine that. And I know so many conventions happen in Vegas. That has got to be like crazy land. when companies go to all those trade shows and conferences, and Vegas has moved really big into that world of conventions. And then you think about all those expense accounts, and then, you know, the sales meetings, the martini lunches do exist with crazy raven cocktails that
my favorite.
right? And so those things do exist, and yet, like, where does that land? Like, that's got to be like interesting. Those, and then you go, what if you do have your holiday party in Vegas?
Oh boy, I wouldn't do that.
I don't know.
Oh, you know, that's kind of interesting because it's happening. Oh, wow. You know, there was a big case about, well, anyway, here's the issue I'm thinking of. If you go to a different state and have your party there, which law applies? Is it California law or is it Nevada law? You know what? I don't know the answer to that. I would assume, because certainly most wage law doesn't travel across borders, and I think harassment law would be the same, but I'm not positive.
If the employer pays for your room, then I think he's just.
But you could get a discount if you got a bunch of people.
But if the employer pays for the room, then I think they put themselves way out there.
They put them in the liability land, because now you're saying here. Ooh, this is interesting, because it still will go whether or not it's a holiday party. This is like if there's shenanigans.
Because why would your employer pay for it if it was voluntary? Makes it not voluntary?
This reminds me of like stories of people crossing state borders for Wiggy. You know, when they were like, you couldn't get alcohol when you're 18 or 19 or 21 or something. You cross the state line in the Midwest, and
that's right.
You could listen to that, Ward.
I grew up in Philadelphia. I was in Philadelphia at the time when I turned 18, and the drinking age in Pennsylvania was 21, but across the river, it was in New Jersey. It was 18. So we used to go across the river.
So there's like that casino that is between California and Arizona, where you can put one foot in Arizona, one in California, and drink at different.
No, you can't take your drink across state lines.
No, they're really strict.
They're really strict.
We tried, but they were like, no.
You make more money in Arizona sometimes.
You can't even take your glass, even as an adult, not a minor, from one side to the other. They're like, not having that.
It's interesting, but this is interesting, because you are now on that you're crossing over, and whatever that state. I mean, Vegas is crazy, but at the same time, it's one of those laws. Like, they have strict laws, like on marijuana, compared to California. So, like, if you light up at your holiday party, you're going down, and there's nothing your employer can do about it, or no one's going to help you. You're going.
And we talked about the workplace marijuana rules, that they're by and large still enforceable. It hasn't really changed. If you have a anti drug policy, then, and most of them are enforceable. I guess you could have a crazy one that's not, but most of them are enforceable, even though it's legal to smoke marijuana in California. So you could still get in trouble by your employer in California.
We need rule number 27. Do not bring brownies to work for the holiday party.
No, definitely don't.
No brownies. But they're good for the holidays. No rum balls or brownies, because you can do that with both, I think. No, maybe not. I don't know. I'll have to think about that. Oh, well, anyway. So but I like this, because this list does teach you, like, hey, how to look at your company. I think this is kind of this interesting way of looking at your company, not necessarily just in the holiday thing, but looking at it like, oh, these are the kind of people I have. This is what's going on. How do we make things better? So it's kind of a neat thing to look at as you look future for like the new year and your goal setting and all that. And looking at, do you have your sexual harassment training up to date? You bring that up too.
Yeah, it's not just sexual harassment. I mean, again, depending on your workforce, it can be religious discrimination and harassment too. I spent a little time on that in the article as well, where employees do have freedom of religion, and you don't want to discriminate against their freedom of religion. Now, of course, if it presents an undue burden to the company, of course, some things can be set aside that might be religious. But for instance, if someone says, "Hey, I need to take some time off to go to this midnight mass," or whatever it is, you really need to consider that.
Yeah.
Now, that doesn't mean, again, it could be an undue burden or hardship, I guess is the real term, undue hardship. But if it's not, then maybe you should just accommodate it, or maybe you can figure out a different way to accommodate their religious beliefs.
Yeah,
but no, when you hire somebody, if you have your act together on,
don't hire Santa Claus if he
no, but when you hire somebody, I mean, I'm just thinking back to the Automobile Club days where your application to work for them was like 35 pages of this, that, you shall and you shall not. They covered everything, like
on your application before you even.
And it was like sleeveless. No, that's out. No,
this is before you, as you apply, you go through this.
Oh yeah, and it was like in depth, and it was things like what you could or could not wear, and you had to sign and initial every paragraph of every single thing. So they vetted employees as, I thought, oh, I'm going to be a nun just now. And that's how it was, except it wasn't. When you start working there, there was a whole different ballgame. But they covered holiday parties and dress and everything in the application that you signed before you got the job.
This is like me going to boarding school. That was exactly what it was like. And then, of course, when we were there, we broke every rule.
But you signed it because you wanted to get the job. And then, and everybody signed it, initial it.
Lord, is that legal now to do that kind of thing?
Crazy.
Well, I haven't heard of an application that's quite that detailed. There's certain things that are clearly illegal. If you're talking about someone's prior criminal history during an application process, that's not allowed in California until you actually offer the job. And in many other states, that's true too. And if the detailed list that you're going through and checking and signing actually discriminates against someone based on a protected class category. So if it's discriminating, if somehow this litany of stuff picks on someone with a particular religion, not even meaning to, you don't necessarily have to mean to, then that could create some type of harassment or discrimination situation in the application process, because applicants are protected too.
Oh, wow. Mm-hmm. Okay, now Ward, I know we talked of holiday parties, but this is something that came to mind. You've talked a lot about this over the last few months. Is this new law thing over independent contractors versus employees?
Mm-hmm. Right.
And I'm thinking about
dynamics. Yeah.
Dude, the holiday season. So is Santa an independent contractor? Like, what happens? Bertie, Santa would be an independent contractor, right? Wow. All the catering, all these holiday party people come in. The little dressed up elves come running through as like a performance or whatever. But that's, you know what I'm saying? Like the independent contractors, and we're in the season of hiring people. Oh, are you a gift wrapper? Well, we're hiring gift wrappers. Oh, is it your own company or are you on the clock? Like that's it. The holiday season is interesting about part-time seasonal employees and the parties and the dirty Santas who could be your Uber driver by day.
And dirty Santa by night.
I know. So this is interesting, like what's going on at this time of year.
A lot of this question is going to revolve around the new law in California, the dynamics case. And, we've talked a lot about the 3 prongs of the test. And the middle prong is the sticker for most people. And that is whether it's in the usual course of the employer's business. So certainly if you are at Macy's and they do present wrapping every year, that's starting to sound like it's the usual course. So you couldn't be an independent contractor for that probably. Now, we also talked about cases, and gosh, I should pull up this case. I haven't looked at it since, and I keep referring to it, so I got to know it better. But I think it's a New York State case, and they have the ABC test too. and this ski lodge, this bar restaurant was located in the ski lodge, and one way they got business was to provide music with live bands, several times a week. And those workers for the band were considered, at least according to the state law out back east, not as independent contractors, but employees. So, depending on how broadly you want to define that middle prong, usual course, many people you wouldn't even suspect could be employees. And we talked about this with bars here, where they always have bands, every Thursday, Friday, Saturday night, that kind of thing. If the Supreme Court, or if the courts here to interpret it the same way as the court back east did, then those people would be employees and not independent contractors. But we consider them independent contractors forever.
Wow. But
so your Santas, probably not. But I suppose if it's regular enough and it's a yearly thing, I could see that.
There's people that do seasonal bartending. And I was just thinking about this. This is like this whole other season change. It's like, it's true. Ski lodges, it's that time. Now everybody's going to come out there. There could be ski guides or trainers. And, there's people that take people cross country skiing, those things with those big shoes and whatever across the snow that I don't know how to do. But I'm dying. Snowshoes, clown shoes for the snow. I want to do that just to see if I can last. But I do want to. Have you done that, Ward? Have you gone on those big shoes across the snow?
Snowshoes? No, I've never snowshoed. No.
Yeah, me neither. I think I'm going to fall down, especially if I have a cocktail first.
I would not in any way, shape, or form recommend a cocktail before you try to do that, because you spend hours stepping on your own feet.
Oh, then I'm having a cocktail because at least
you do, because the normal way you walk is not the way you walk in the snow. So you have to go like 3 feet out. So it's almost like a.
But but now you're going to have all these people take you out. Like this is what I'm saying. There's this seasonal change in business, especially in the tourism industry. Oh, we have to cover seasonal shifts like as we go here, Ward, because it's true.
Okay. Let's hit it.
There's guides. There's like, hey, suddenly now bands are coming out. Santa could be his own company. I'm Santa at this time of year. You could be, and then maybe he's a clown for the rest of the year.
Actually, most of the Santas that I've seen come from the actual company you work for, and it's an employee who volunteers to be
and
Santa.
You do not sometimes want to, you normally.
And you already know you don't want to sit
You
on
already
that
know.
one. And as an adult, you shouldn't be sitting on Santa's lap.
You don't want to sit on people's
Not
laps
in the middle of a work time.
Yes, but a woman could work that if she wanted to.
Okay, I want to be.
Okay.
I know, Ward. Aren't you glad we're not in California?
Oh, you guys are scaring me.
I know. I'd be like, hey, Ward, every few minutes. Ward, call Ward. We're in trouble again.
But we've seen
Can I do this?
I know. Can we do this? But that's the thing. It's changing so fast that it's getting, I don't know. I mean, I sometimes really believe some of these things. We need the red tape. We need protection for people on certain things. And then it gets like, really? Can't we just be Santa for a few days? Do we really?
Can't we just?
Yeah,
all get along. It can go too far, and that's why I say, the person in charge has to make some decisions. You have to decide whether you want this morale booster and fun time, and if you do, how much control do you want to have over it? Do you want everyone just to cut loose? All right, well, no, you're taking on some risk, or do you want to control it in some ways that'll reduce your risk? And so you just got to make that decision on a case-by-case basis. Every employer's got to make their own decision.
But then, okay, isn't there a part, I always go back to this phrase, the spirit of the law. It's like, wasn't it intended to have responsibility on both sides? Like, okay, just because your boss says, okay, I'm going to pay for a drink, does that really mean that you as the individual can get drunk and blame it on your boss?
Well, maybe.
If your boss is saying, come on, do it.
But you got to remember, I think the most employees approach life and work with in a reasonable way.
Yeah.
And so you don't have to worry about them. When it's really the 5% that, kind of take license and maybe aren't appropriate all the time. And it's those people where maybe the boss has to say, I can't do the party I want because there's, a few people out there that I think might not behave right. Everyone else will, but these might not, and they might hurt themselves, and I could be in trouble, or they might hurt someone else.
The whole company. It could hurt the whole company.
Right.
And then that's discrimination if you leave them out.
But I think there's ways to do it. And I think, again, that's what I love about your list, because everyone can look at it and go, okay, I know where our problems are here. We can identify it pretty quick. I mean, we all know who does what and where normally in a company or HR or whoever's in charge of doing the festivities. And I think there's ways to do it. And like I said, just give people cash. I'm just kidding. But
that's all they really want anyway.
No, it's not. But it is about people using something to get ahead in a way that they shouldn't. And I think you give everybody a good eye-opening, like, wakey here, but you can still have fun if you balance it out. Ward, I want to know.
Yeah.
You're going to do a company party. So come on. Like, what are we eating and drinking? Come on. You're going to let us have a cocktail, right?
I'm going to
come on. And where
are you talking about the Halloween party that's coming up?
No, not the Halloween party, the holiday party. Which is
where Judge where Judge Ward's in charge. I like that party. That's a good one. All right, so I'm thinking about the holiday party that I want to have, and where are we going to go? That's the question.
Yeah. Where?
Well, I mean, why don't we take a week and go to Hawaii, the Big Island?
Okay, now that's liability, dude.
No, but they have.
Well, yeah, sure it is. But we're gonna have a great time.
I know. Who cares? We're in Hawaii.
Everybody must wear a grass skirt.
I know. Everybody.
No, that's where I draw the line.
No. This is what everybody gets as a present. Once they get there, you have little stockings in their hotel rooms, right? And inside is a can of Spam. Everybody must eat Spam.
Yes.
That is mandatory. Yep. You will eat the Spam.
No.
I'm kidding. I haven't been to Hawaii yet, and we do so many shows on Hawaii. I just feel like we need to go.
Are you serious? Right, oh, you ought to go. Oh, I love Hawaii. That's one of my very favorite places.
We have so many interviews with artists who go stay at the Hawaii Volcanoes National Park and this artist in residence program to the National
super neat.
Arts. And I'm like, they're like, with this last lava flow, like they're going, we are seeing new rocks being made. Mm-hmm. That is the coolest thing. Like new rocks. Like that's from the lava.
It's amazing. It's amazing.
I like that. Okay, I'm coming to work for you, Ward. If we're going to Hawaii for a week,
that's a great perk, right?
That's an awesome perk. You can't beat that. Craven cocktail.
Craven Raisin Crazy Cocktail? That's the full name of it.
Yeah, you got to have that. You're going to have those.
I was wearing that shirt this week. In fact, I took a picture with Chef Jeremy in my Craven Raisin T-shirt that I won in that contest.
Awesome. Everybody, check this out. Chef Jeremy's on the hill. Photo. Yeah, they do holiday parties. Got to give them a shout out over there. Yeah, that's the way to do it. See, just go see someone like Chef Jeremy for the holidays so you can enjoy yourself and not sweat about anything. Don't worry about anything. Just go eat, drink, be merry, and have somebody else drive you home, an Uber driver, and then you can ask them on the way down the mountain, well, are you an independent contractor or not? And where are Santa's reindeer? Why are they not attached to the car? That's it. I love it. Ward, always good to have you on the show. Shenanigans, as always, but always really, really good information. And I know this is going to be very good for everyone to look at. I know people are planning right now for their holiday parties. And, I want people to have fun, right, Ward? I don't want to scare people.
Yeah, you do. No, you do, but as an attorney, sometimes I seem like a bummer, and I'm not. And I just want people to make the best decision for them and understand the risk and see if you can reduce it. I also talk about decorating for the holidays too, and I say, it's probably smart to be a little more generic. But then individuals, maybe let them do a little more. Who knows? But take a look at the list, take a look at the article, and figure out what works for you.
Yeah, read the list. Take note.
I think it's important.
But 27 is do not make brownies and take them to work. That
I may add that one next year.
Or Canada, you can't do that now either. You ran out, apparently. So there it is. Apparently, that's the news of Canada. So anyway, go to California. They're happy there. Everybody, bestemploymentattorneysandiego.com is the website to go. Ward, you sit down with people that need your services. You say, let's have a conversation first, right? That's how you work it?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, everybody chat with Ward first. And again, bestemploymentattorneysandiego.com. He's on Twitter at Ward Heinrichs, and you can also type in Ward Heinrichs on Facebook, and he's in LinkedIn. And what's cool, on social media, Ward keeps up to date with all these different bills happening. I think I saw Jerry Brown, Governor Jerry Brown, it signed some new things happening for women, right? The other day, on just knowing from you, because we're not in California anymore, but we watch your social media, like, hey, all these different things are happening. So great place to keep up with it. And again, go to blendradioandtv.com, and Ward's list of 26 things plus 27 are all on there for you to take into consideration this holiday season, so everybody can have a good time and start the new year with a good cheer. And don't forget, keep up with us at bigblendradio.com. You can listen to shows go live or later anytime that you want. And Ward, we have a song for you.
Oh, good.
Because I know that you like some good music, right? You like a little bit of rock in there, right, for Christmas?
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah,
okay.
I definitely listen to some rock, yeah.
Okay. Do you like blues? You gotta
love blues. Yep.
All right, good. Do you like Johnny Winter? Because his protege has this awesome
Oh, I haven't listened to Johnny Winter in a while, but yeah, he's got some good stuff.
Paul Nelson was on our show right before Christmas or last year, and he's got this song out, "Merry Christmas, Everybody." It's a cover, awesome song, and he's out touring the world. And Paul Nelson rocks. He's just excuse me, everybody, but badass guitar player. I mean, you can't be Johnny Winter's protege without that. Am I allowed to say that? Am I getting in trouble now, Ward? I'm scared. Attorney on the show. Watch what you say.
Yeah.
It's all right. I get emails. It's all right.
You just accept your risk.
I know. That's exactly it is. Where is your risk level? That's exactly what it is. Where is your risk level? But here it is, everyone. Merry Christmas, everybody. It's from Paul Nelson, and you can keep up with Paul. Go to thepaulnelsonband.com. Thanks so much, Ward. You take care.
Oh, my pleasure. Thanks for having me.